The stitch width, length, and needle positions are all built into this machine. So depending on which stitch you have selected, we'll show you what you're able to adjust. When you get the machine, it starts off with the straight stitch in the center needle position. That's the one you want all the time. Now as you turn the dial, this is how we select our stitches. As we turn the dial, you'll notice that you'll get different pictures in the window. Depending on what picture is picked, that's the one you get. If you're not sewing, you need to have that needle in the up position when you turn to select different stitches. You're going to notice your needle's going to move from time to time, so you definitely don't want it in the fabric while it's moving. So your next one is the needle position to the far right needle position. So you've got center and far right, just depending on where you need to sew based on how you're guiding it down your fabric. Next, you have your zigzag. So what we have is a narrow to wide zigzag. Depending on what width is in your window, you have all the variations of stitch width. Next, you'll have a multiple point zigzag, a stretch blind hem, an overlock stitch, a blind hem on regular fabric, and a decorative scallop. Now each of these, and then we get to a buttonhole, step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are all the steps that we'll do, and then we're back to the beginning. So it's really simple to use. When we want to adjust stitch length, we'll come up here to this knob, and it's noted by a picture up here of a short to medium long stitch length. And so as we set this, we can set it to no stitch length at 0. Our little picture between 0 and 1 is for when we do our buttonholes, because it's a buttonhole picture. And for normal stitching, somewhere between 2 and 2.5 for lightweight fabrics. And then as we get to heavier fabrics, lengthen out your stitch length. So we'll go ahead and use this. As I choose different stitches and manipulate them to do different things, we'll have our stitch length changed according to the technique. So really easy to do. Let's go ahead and set it at 2, 2.5. We're on a stitch length, regular straight stitch, but if we want to change something, bring your needle up. Let's go ahead and do some zigzags. So if I go to the widest zigzag, but then watch, if I make the stitch length closer together, I can get a satin stitch or longer apart. This is a great way to overlock an edge so you don't have anything unraveling later. And then just remember, bring your take-up lever to the highest position before you lift up your presser foot, and that will make it much easier when you start to sew your next seam. So we have all different widths, and we can change our stitch length depending on our look we're after.